Welcome to the Utah Football Fans Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, go Utes. So let's start with all the Utah news, because there's big ones. I mean, huge news. Keithy's coming back. Brant Keithy, if you hadn't heard, if you're living under a rock, he is coming back. You know, this was kind of the one I think so many of us were waiting on to hear from him, what he was going to do. He missed all last season. Same with Cam because of an injury. So I really didn't know what to expect from him. I could have seen it going either way, but I mean, this is massive to add him to the roster for next year. But what are your thoughts on when you heard the news?
Yeah, he's
Well,
the guy.
massive.
Yeah,
It's massive. I for some reason, I had no reason. I don't know why I thought this, but I didn't think he was coming back for quite a while there. But I'm pleasantly surprised in some ways, but very pleased because he was the guy, and then he gets hurt, and then Kincaid made the best of it, and he's doing fantastic in the league. But look, we've got at least an all-conference guy now at tight end, and he's more wide receiver type. He's not so much the blocking tight end type. So you've got that hybrid type guy. So I'm excited, and he's a 5-star guy in that position. And yeah, I think it's massive for us.
yeah. No, I'm in the same boat. It's huge. I think that it's kind of the one piece that we've all been waiting on, right? I was really hopeful. I had no insight one way or another. I just kind of felt the longer that it went, the better I felt about it, right? Because the draft's coming, you got to declare all that sort of stuff. I think it's huge. I'm right there with you, Gary. I think that it's a guy that Cam has such chemistry with, right? They've played together for so long. To have a guy come back that you can trust. And don't forget, he was our tight end one, right?
Yeah.
Cade's now in the league catching touchdowns from Josh Allen on Sunday night, right? And he was our tight end two. So you got Keithy coming back, who is our tight end one with the guys behind him. He's been off a whole year, so let's hope he's completely healthy coming back. That's huge. It's fantastic news. Considering some of the guys that we lost, I think that would have been a huge loss if we lost him as well. I know we added a bunch of guys that we'll talk about, but I'm thrilled. I think it's fantastic.
Here's the other side of it, or another piece to it is we did get in the transfer portal. Is it Carson Ryan? Is that his name, from UCLA?
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's good.
Yeah, he's really good.
So we already have King.
Yeah.
He's a great receiving tight end, but now this guy, and I was listening to an interview by Coach Witt, and Carson Ryan is a different type of tight end. He's got good hands, but he's more what Kincaid was. He can block as well. So now we've got two tight ends who can catch the ball. One guy is probably more physical, more of the blocking type tight end, and then you've got Keithy, the other type of tight end. So think about that matchup. If those two guys are on the field, plus some of the receivers that we have now, and of course, Rising at QB. Yeah, it's it's exciting. I gotta say, I think it's great.
I think you mentioned it, the chemistry between Rising and Keithy. I mean, that's huge. That's something you can't build that in one season. And so those guys know each other so well. They've played together for a few years. And the leadership of both of them. I mean, they were both voted captain last year, and then unfortunately neither of them could play the whole year. Mm-hmm. But they hold that respect of the rest of the team. Cam, we know he absolutely does, but I think Keithy does too. So to have both of them coming back and leading these young guys, some of these transfer guys, just bringing them into the fold, it's massive. We're very lucky that he's coming back. Notable transfers that we've had over the last week. Dorian Singer, wide receiver from USC. USC, we talk about all the time, the USC receivers. And now he's here. Dorian
Mhm.
Singer from USC, Tayshawn Lyons, wide receiver from Washington, another massive get. And then there's been a couple defensive players over the last week. This guy from Stanford, who's a safety, Gilman is his last
Mhm.
name. Guy named Vaughn, he's a defensive end. And then, all the other ones that have come before. But the two wide receiver transfers from this last week, those are massive. That's the position we really have needed, right?
Yeah, well, Dorian Singer, I think probably most people realize it, but he was at Arizona 2 years ago, and he
Right.
was
Yep.
all conference.
Yeah.
I mean, his stats, I have his stats around. Look up his stats when he was at Arizona. The guy was fantastic. So then he transferred to USC, was underutilized last year, but he's a legit, I think anyway, number one receiver. He adds so much to our room. I mean, think about it though. So you get Singer and Lyons, who, when you consider, I think he's a redshirt freshman too, coming from Washington. I believe he came out as a 4-star recruit, but the guys he had to, sit behind on that
Yeah.
receiver core that Washington had, he wasn't going to see the field.
Yeah.
So now he comes to Utah, all of that talent. But then, I mean, we already have, who do we have? Money Parks. The big guy.
McLean.
Yeah,
McLean.
McLean. I'm just saying, you could, those guys in our wide receiver core and then our tight ends, the whole receiving core is looking really, really good.
This is the hard part about the transfer portal, right? Like for the last 3 months, I've done nothing but crap all over the transfer portal, how much I hate it. And then you get guys like this in and you're like, oh, it's the greatest thing in the world because my team just got a whole lot better, right? I'm not dumb enough to sit here and not realize what a hypocrite I am when it comes to this because yeah, my team just got a whole lot better. And that makes me really, really happy.
At least you admit it, James.
I'll admit it. Look, this is the
But you're
Utah.
not being a hypocrite. You have to play the cards we've all been dealt.
It sucks because the guy comes in, he puts on the drum and feather, and all of a sudden he's your guy, right? He's your guy, and then you see him leave and go to another school, and it's like you take it personal for some reason. And then another guy comes in, and you're like, oh yeah, now that's my guy. It's stupid, right? But I am thrilled when I saw that we were getting Singer to come. I couldn't believe it. Gary, you're exactly right. He went to Arizona. He was a 3-star talent, went to Arizona. And there's the story when Arizona played USC. There's the story where Singer was lighting him up. And Caleb Williams said to his staff, he admits saying this, during the offseason, we're going to go get that guy. He says that. That's the talent level of this guy that Caleb Williams wanted him, and they did. They went out and they got him to go to USC, and now he's coming here. Go look him up. Go look up some of his catches. I mean, he arguably is the best wide receiver that we've had maybe ever. I mean, his talent level is incredible. And then, yeah, the kid from Washington. And you combine all of that with the guys that are coming back and then the guys that have already committed, plus outside the transfer portal, just the traditional basic building that Utah does. I think we're in a really good spot. Now, it all has to come together and mesh. Bryn, you're right. It doesn't happen overnight. I think that there's some schools that they try and get all these guys. I mean, look at USC last year, right? They had all the talent in the world. It doesn't come together. Well, it doesn't come together and you're not great. So it has to come together. But on paper, wow, I couldn't be more excited from what I saw on Twitter the other day. I'll tell you that much.
It's coming together. It's Pittman. I forgot. I'm sorry. It was Micah Pittman.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we had
that's right.
Pittman, Parks, and McLean already in the room. Other guys that we have recruited. And now you add these two guys. I'm just saying it's looking good. And I honestly believe we will come together because of the way Utah operates.
Let the overhyping begin. Let us all, just start, get on the hype train.
We're just kind of, now we're all in tune with all this stuff. Utah fans, people in the chat and whatever. Utah just goes about their business in a quiet manner. You just go out and do this and do that. Getting good talent that fits in with the culture of Utah. The pieces are starting to come together, but there's all this hype that you get from the other programs throughout the country. Some of it's I get, but some of it's just a bunch of hype. But you look at what Utah's doing incrementally, and there's going to still be some parts that are going to come in. And it could end up to be a really, really good team. It always comes down to the lines, the O and D lines. I was listening to Whit go through the offensive line, and he legitimately thinks we're going to have another great line, O-line. And then the defense, I think, is going to be great. The defensive line, we seem to have multiple dudes in the trenches, which is needed to win, and Utah just has a way of bringing guys in. So if the trenches are good, you add the skill. I don't know. I'm positive, very positive. Now, I listened to Whitty. He said that, after spring, of course, the portal opens up again. So there's a chance you lose guys, after spring ball once, everything starts flushing out a little bit. So we might lose some guys, maybe have to bring in some guys. But I mean, look at the quarterback room right now. You got Cam Wilson. Apparently has some surgery coming up. Don't know.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It is. And then Rose is still here. And Whit said they want to have 4 QBs in the room. So
I wonder why.
We may need to get somebody else.
Don't even put that out there.
Anyway, look, I'm not going to overhype it. It's only January and there's so much to go. But when you start seeing these pieces come together, Corinne Reed is coming back.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's another one announced.
Yes.
He announced, and Barton was going to be healthy. I don't know. It's just, and we've had a lot of guys get a lot of experience last year when the whole, everything happened with all the injuries. Guys that probably wouldn't get the experience got it. Now they're prepared.
Well, and one thing that we have is experienced coaching staff. We'll start talking about the coaching carousel here now. But Utah, knock on wood, I'm knocking on every piece of wood I can find. We will be going into the season with very experienced coaching staff. I mean, Whittingham, the guy's been around for 20 plus years. Our coordinators, all of that right now. Don't anyone ever come for our Morgan Scally. I just can't. I can't even think about that. Hopefully they have that locked up because that man needs to stick around.